good.
All right. Just a few announcements. First off, those who are here, please silence your phones. Sunday, May 16th, Heartwood will hold a refuge ceremony during the Dharma. Sangha members who've already participated in a ceremony are welcome to participate and repeat the 5 vows. Please wear white and bring a flower or incense offering. We have a retreat coming up. The first one, a couple of retreats. The first one is May 15th, Letting Go in 4 Stages by Martine, or with Martine Batchelor. Just a few announcements.
Sorry, go ahead.
We have an in-person retreat with Wild Heart. This is held by Andrew Chapman and Reverend Mikey Noshul, and that one's from May 24th to 31st. You can go to the website for more information. We're going to start a new, or Venerable Panyawadi rather, is offering a new book study beginning on Friday at 4 p.m. The book is TBA, but if you're interested, you can go to the website under book study and go ahead and sign up. We're still doing the novena prayers every 3rd Thursday. If you want to send us any confidential prayers, you can still do that. You can send it to prayer@heartwoodrefuge.org. Our fully vaccinated Sangha members are invited to Heartwood for Sunday Dharma in the Dharma Hall. Thrifty Treasures is still doing great, still kicking. And if you want to still help out with Thrifty Treasures, which is our new endeavor, we still need volunteer support, and we're also hiring cashiers, stockers, shift supervisors, and managers. Thank you so much for the donations and dana that you continue to offer to Heartwood. We really appreciate it. If you would please continue to go to Heartwood's homepage to click on the giving option. You can find ways to give that way. And please continue to like, follow, share, all the good stuff to help us expand our reach so we can continue to spread the Dharma. Thank you.
Sorry. Put it right here. So I think we have 2 songs today.
You want to go ahead and do that first?
I do, because I have 2 Dharma Talks. But I think we're going to ease into this, and I'm going to need to really keep a close watch on the time.
Which song would you like first, Venerable?
Fill me out. And did you get the words for the other song?
Yes, it should be right. It was on the table right there. Unless it is moved.
No? Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, it should
There
be.
you go. Thank you. I'm going to make a little bit of a mess for somebody. While this song is playing. I'm going to
the fire. I will be the sacrifice. You provide the spirit. And I will open up inside. You provide the fire. I will be the sacrifice. You provide the spirit. And I will open up inside. Fill me up, 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 fill me up. I desire mercy. I desire wisdom. I desire virtue. And I will open up inside. I desire virtue. I desire wisdom. I desire kindness. And I will open up inside. Fill me up. 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 Fill me up till I overflow. I wanna run over. I wanna run over. Fill me up till I overflow. I wanna run over. I wanna run over. Fill me up till I overflow. I wanna run over. wanna run over.
So maybe you're not familiar with that ritual and that ceremony, but it's offering the mandala to the holy beings. And the silver implement represented all of the worlds and everything within our world that we hold dear. All of our loves, all of our preferences. And also, and that's why you saw like the jewels that were interspersed. And then there were also stones and rocks. And it represents all of our trials, all of our hardships, the things that we go through in samsara. And then there was also the rice, representing the inclusive field and the interplay and dynamic between what we like, what we don't like, what we love and what we hate, what is good, what is not good, all of that. And we offer all of this up. This is the offering of our life. When we say, make my life an offering of worship, take my all and use me. That's what that means. It's that kind of inner surrender. So it doesn't matter what we're doing, like on this on this surface level, you know, what really matters is what is actually the intention, the true intention of the heart. And sometimes in walking that out, something looks good on the surface. And sometimes it doesn't look good on the surface. But all things work together for the good. You know, when there is goodness involved, goodness has its own reward. It has its own result, and it bears its own fruit. So many of us are challenged by the things that we see on the surface. And we make a decision or we have a discrimination about what is what based on what we see on the surface. But he says that we have to go way deeper than the surface. And one can only go as deep as one is. And so when it's hard to understand something on we have to know that it's not that a thing is difficult to understand, but that we have to go deeper to be able to understand it. And that's why it's good to inquire and then to contemplate instead of bumping it up against the well, I think, this is what I think, or this is what I see, or this is how I hear it, or we do see it as we see it, we do think it as we think it, we do hear it as we hear it, but that should not be our litmus test. The litmus test is our capacity to see and hear something different as awareness dawns that takes us beyond the way we already think and we already see and we already hear. This is the great challenge in Buddhist practice as opposed to some other practices. Many practices can be good, but a baby needs milk, a toddler needs pablum, and an adult needs meat. You know what I mean by meat. They need full-on food. And so make sure we're getting the proper nutriment at the proper time in our life is the difference between living successfully and dying with no regrets, or living and being perplexed at the end, or living and being still asleep at the end. So today I wanted to talk a little bit, because it's Mother's Day. I won't be using those words specifically, but I'm talking about the universal mother. And the qualities and the attributes of the mother, the perfect mother, which none of us have, and which none of us are, those of us who are mothers. I believe, or I feel that the greatest attribute is that a mother doesn't hold grudges. A mother is able to cast things into the sea of forgetfulness. And if we could understand that as the basis, the reason why I wanted to do a practice today for you was to see how ritual or how method can really help us, can really open up our understanding when words get in the way. And as I turned over the mandala and I began to fill it with all of my hopes and aspirations, dreams, accomplishments, sorrows, with everything, offering it, what did that mean to me? It meant something to me. I wasn't just sitting here filling a thingy, but it was a reflection of what was rising up on the inside. So sometimes we don't need so many words. Sometimes we need to put our whole body into it. And we put our whole selves into action. We give with our whole heart, leaving no remainder for ourselves. And that's where the freedom comes, when we are left without remainder. Every bit that we continue to harbor and hold for ourselves becomes a place for us to get trapped, to get stuck, to get wounded, to get burned, to get lost, to have regret. But when we have yielded and given it all, then the whole world is our oyster. We inherit the whole world. Isn't it funny that it becomes ours when we surrender it all? It's only when we're holding something back that we suffer. So this is a fuller explanation I would like to offer today about equanimity. And we think of equanimity as being sort of like in a neutral space, in a neutral gear. We think of it as maybe as being free of attachment. We think of equanimity, like being free of attachment. My master defines it as boundless generosity. And I like that idea because it takes us into a greater heart space than just to be free of attachment or attraction, That does mean that, to be free of attachment or attraction to some, and aversion or repulsiveness to others. But there's another space where it allows for some indifference still to others. And that's what we're living with in this world today. We're living, and I'm talking about spiritual people now. Spiritual people who have given their lives over to certain principles, certain beings, resting in the completed work, nothing left to do. I'm talking about our definitions of what it is to be saved, what it is to love. And I think our love needs a little bit of redefining, because we've left out one important aspect of it. Love is a little bit more elaborate than that, because it requires a habit of not ignoring some. So we live our lives however we live it, but without a keen eye to some. And that's what creates the inequity in the world, even among good people. That we have some that we work on not having aversion to. And there are some, of course, that we are drawn to, very similar to us, in thought, in words, in deeds. But that little peculiar corner, and ignoring, comes from the same root word as ignorance. So you could see how our tendency to ignore certain people speak to our ignorance. The basis for equanimity, of course, we've been studying this in the Friday class, is a renunciation of samsara. And as it just scares the bejeebies out of everybody. When we start talking about renouncing samsara, we get real confused. I don't really know what that means. I'm just supposed to enjoy life and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and it goes on like that. But it's really understanding spiritual language and how many times it's the opposite of worldly language. So as we enter into a spiritual dynamic, we have to be flexible enough to expand our connotation of words, to give it higher meaning, deeper definition. And that's how we actually enter into the truth of the words that we speak, that have a limited definition by worldly standards. And so we talk about this renunciation of samsara, but in what sense? In the sense of giving up these disturbing emotions that we have towards various beings. We have limits to our outrage depending on how near to us some are. How many times we can forgive if they're close to us. Versus one strike, you're out if they're not. And when we're trying to develop bodhicitta, that is a mind for all beings to wake up, then there's a verse of when I'm doing the mandala that I utter, but I don't just utter it, I enter into it. And those verses are the objects of attachment, aversion, and ignorance, friends and enemies and strangers, my body, my wealth, my enjoyments. I offer all these without any sense of loss. Without any sense of loss. That's what we're talking about this morning, offering these without any sense of loss, without any sense of, oh, I don't want to give up samsara. I don't want to give up my really close friends. What's wrong with having friends? I enjoy friends. I don't want to give up avoiding people I don't like, and so on. But it's offering up all of these kinds of thoughts. And we tell them to please accept these offerings with pleasure. Why? Do we think the Buddhas or the Bodhisattva or Jesus or God needs something from us? No. We don't think that at all. Or if we think that, it's the wrong view. They don't need anything for us. But what it does is it begins to scrape away little by little. Oh, I'm so sorry. My children are here. I can't see that far. That's my children. Thank you. Oh, this is so wonderful. Please, have a seat. I haven't seen them for years. I have a new grandbaby great grandchild that I've never seen.
Welcome. Thank you.
So this is such a wonderful surprise for me. But this is what I'm talking about, of being able to offer up everything without any sense of loss. And when one has fully surrendered and offered everything, then they inherit everything, whether near or whether far. Because in one's own heart, being full and encompassing the whole body, nothing is lost. Nothing is given. Nothing is sacrificed. And it's only when one reaches this place is one fit to serve. And only when one reaches this place can one find peace. And only when one reaches this place, even though they make errors, they make mistakes, yet they rise. And when others are still looking at something, they're so far beyond that. So I say to you, one needs to focus here in the mandala of the heart to really understand, enter into, and embody the teachings of the masters. That's how one becomes a master himself, because one overcomes the world. Not just overcomes the vicissitudes, the evils of the world, or the things that break us down, but we also overcome the greatest joys of the world. And that's why one understands suffering is born from those who are dead. The true meaning of that. I mean, like, it's just a fact. Until we overcome even that, which is the closest to us, only then is one free. One still bound in samsara until that time. And then one can receive and be received. One can reject or be rejected. And yet, without any sense of loss or sorrow. So we ask then the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas to please accept our offering of our whole life, everything we think, everything we say, everything we do. And inspire me, is the next line, and others to be free from these poisonous attitudes. It's training the mind to go in a certain direction. And that's how we learn to fall 7 times and get up again. That's how we learn to overlook a slight and tolerate a fault. That's how we learn to not have expectations but accept what is offered. That's how we learn to not be so upset when something doesn't go the way that we planned because we had a certain thought in our mind or a certain expectation in our mind. And without that, what now? That's how we learn to just be in the present moment. Free. Free. In the present moment. So this meditation we do on equanimity is designed to help us practice uprooting disturbing emotions. The state of mind that we're left with, if we're successful with this kind of equanimity, this practice of equalizing our attitudes towards everybody, it leaves us with a willingness also to help everybody. There were times in my children's life, I usually talk about them when they're not here, because I know they don't listen to the talk, so they don't know what I'm saying. But this one I can say in front of you. But we would have foster children, and one day Tasha came to me, and she was a little bit upset because she could do something, and she got, quote, punished for it. But the other girl could do that, and she didn't get punished for it. And she was like, why? You seem to love her more than you love us. And it wasn't that. It was that for my children, I had taught them the right way to go. This one didn't have any training. For my children, I had taught them how to be kind and considerate and to not steal and to, but this one hadn't had that training. And so my long suffering towards her was greater. And so that's how we have to evaluate things, not according, it's okay, not according to how close someone is to us, but what is the need of the one right in front of you. So many times I did not give my children something, I gave it to somebody else. And I know that that was a hard lesson for them. But they learned that lesson. And now on the top end, they can live that kind of life. They understand it altogether. They forgive me that I'm not with them. I'm not there for whatever those things are when your family come together. Family reunions. I'm not there for family reunions. I'm not there when they all take a cruise together. I'm not there for all of these things. I'm saying, I'm sorry, I can't come. I have work to do. But they have understood this. If I live long enough, my time will come when I'm finished. And I'm almost finished. I guess they got tired of waiting. So it's not that we're left this equanimity with a feeling of being in neutral. I mean, if you got your car and you're trying to drive it in neutral, you ain't going nowhere. I mean, you're going to have to put it in the drive or put it in the reverse. You're going to have to do something else besides mash on the gas in neutral, is what I'm saying. So let us not get complacent in our practice, thinking that we're so good and life is so smooth because if one is not already enlightened, then one still needs the challenges to take you towards that. And this is the kind of peace that is talked about in the Mahayana tradition. It's also talked about in the Theravada tradition. But often it's a kind of peace that comes from inaction and non-involvement, non-engagement. I just want to sit up in my kuti all day and meditate. And yes, they do reach a certain kind of peace. But it's easy to reach when you're not being challenged with anything. But do you have that same peace when you are challenged? When things don't go right? When you are disappointed? Even when there's some discouragement, can you be steady? Can you find peace in that moment? When you don't have a game plan, can you wait for an answer? When you have to shift and go in a different direction, can you go fearlessly, relying on oneself? These are the questions. Then we know whether we're mature or whether we still have work to do. So there's a practice that we introduced a couple of maybe months ago from Buddha Masters, what is cultivation. That is seeing all living beings as my kind mother. Now that could be tough to do if you didn't have a kind mother. And y'all know my mother's stories. So I was talking to one of my teachers one day and I said, this is what doesn't work for me. Because I still have some mommy issues. This doesn't work for me. And he said, well, you know, even if she didn't treat you the way she thought, the way you thought she should have treated you, well, at least she didn't do this. And he would name things, and he had to really go down that list to start to get to some place that I could say, that's my mother, you know. And finally, where he had to get to was, well, at least she didn't abort you. And even with that, I said, but she tried. No, he said, but she didn't try the second time. And you can't get any lower than that. That's where I was rock bottom. He said, in spite of all of that. And once I gave up my ideas of what I thought she should have been as a mother, I began to see what she was as a mother, with her limitations, with the things she had suffered in her own life. And I've told that story about her being sold to the plantation owner where they did sharecropping, and the family rescuing her and sending her, putting her on a bus and saying, go as far as your money will take you. You know, but that was a story. That story, I didn't learn or hear about it until near the end of her life. But all before that, I thought she just doesn't love me enough. But what if she didn't know what a mother's love really was? What if she was fighting her own demons? What if I had known? Would it have made a difference? If you beating me every day, which that was one of the things she did not do. But I'm just saying, if you're beating me every day and you tell me I'm beating you because my mother beat me, that will not compute. So even if I had known the story, I don't think it would have made much difference, is what I'm saying. Because I was still suffering. But once I began to do these practices, like the mandala that you saw me do today, and to meditate on that, I began to see what had been obscured for me. And I could remember things that weren't apparent before. Like how she would sit in the corner in a place and beat off rats, having all the kids wrapped around her, sleeping in her lap. And how she worked 3 jobs just to make sure we had food, and there was a lot of us. So the food was chicken necks and chicken backs and oxtails and ham hocks and collard greens. I remember one time we had a celebration at work, and we all had to take some food, and I took a bowl of collard greens, and my supervisor said, what is this? We feed this to the pigs. But it's what we ate for food. But I remember her differently now. That in spite of her pain, her rejection, and her suffering, she gave all that she had. And oh, how I wish I could repay her kindness. So we should become, the Buddha said, everybody's mother. And we should receive everybody as our own kind mother. This is just a method to sweeten the mind and to free the mind. It frees the mind of painful memories. It frees the mind of information that has come in through the sense gates, what we see or hear or taste or touch or smell or think. It frees us to know something on a deeper level. And I accept that in order to be living in this world, there had to be a cause that produced an appearance in this world. So there's a possibility that what caused her to be my mother in this world was that I was her mother in the last world. Maybe I treated her the same way, I don't know. But if I just hold the thought that there is so much that I don't know, I only know something from the beginning of this life, but not what brought this life into existence. And I don't even have to know. I can just hold that mystery, in peace. Knowing that every condition is produced by a cause. And so if it shows up in my life, then I have some part in it. What if we thought of every situation that we encounter, especially the ones that don't turn out so good for us? I have some part in this, whether I know what that is or not. And this is the law of karma, that all causes produce a condition. And if a condition is present, it's no point in getting upset about it now, because the cause has already been enacted, because now the condition or the result is upon us. So the only thing that matters is what I do in this present moment, because that's going to set up what? The condition for the next moment. That's it. And what do I want that to look like? If I want more of the same, then I can react to this. If I want it to be different, then I set something else in. That's how we live in peace. And in truth. Yeah. We think truth is just not telling a lie. But it's so much more than that. Desire truth in the inward parts to be free. So we move from a place of peace that's just around our manufactured world and those that we like and love, to this place of impartiality, which was the second step, right? And there we talked about where we're not ignoring anybody. The root of ignorance is to ignore. And we're not indifferent to anybody, but we are as consciously present for everybody as we are for those that we hold in. And then there's one more place to go. And it's only when we are stepping on the platform of those first two that we can reach the third. And that is, we are left with a state of peace that's in a positive sense, that we're open to everybody equally. And I guess that's where we have to do a little bit of work. Sometimes when I had the Panyadipa and I had the unaccompanied youth, the homeless kids, and people would want to do something for them. I remember when they were graduating, and they needed tuxedos, and this is their one, the few that could actually make it through school, first in their family to graduate from high school. And People said they would help me to get the tuxedos and the gowns for the kids, and they called the store to make arrangements, and the kids called me from the store crying, and they said, "Ma, we can't wear these clothes." They said, "These are Undertaker suits." And I told the shopkeeper, let them pick out whatever they wanted. I mean, and they were dressed in bright orange, they were dressed in purple, looked like Mr. Penguin. I mean, but it was, but the ones who were paying wanted to do the least, give them the cheapest, But you should give your best. Give what you give to your own child, is what I'm saying. And so, in this way, we will develop a kind of kindness that is true and that's genuine. And we will give up the impartiality of liking those who like us and not liking those who don't like us. We will give up the way of being kind to those who do what we want and being cruel to those who don't. We will give up the ways of exacting more punishment from those who are not dear, and more overlooking faults to those who are dear. And in this way, giving those things up, we ourselves are also free. Free. Now, I guess since I saw Sister Clear Grace come in the door here with my children, that she had her fingers in this. I love Sister Clear because she's always thinking about what she can do for somebody. And those are the things that we hold. The good works that others do. We can forget about everything else. It's also the things that we can hold dear about ourselves, not in a selfish way, but just in an honest way. That we can hold the things that we do good, and we can forget about our shortcomings. Acknowledge them, see them, and move on. In this way, we won't be bound. In this way, we'll continually step into freedom because it's a joy to be moving in that direction. So I'd like to end with a song today. I can tell because there's a lot of people that's not in here that Grace hasn't finished. Because there's a whole lot of residents that are not in this room. But I want to give you the words to the song because I want you to really feel the energy of the song as we close. And some of you who haven't, this is just your second time back since we reopened 2 weeks ago, and you never had a chance to meet the residents that are here. There's Travis is who you'll hear singing the lead in this song. When Travis came, Travis didn't sing, he said, "I sing in the shower." But I could hear it in his voice, And he's a choreographer, he's a dancer. And he was like so good at that nothing else mattered, But he reached a place in his life that he needed to piece all of that together, how to make life meaningful with such a great talent, a dancer to the stars. And so I said, "You get over there in the recording studio." And I gave him a song. And when I heard him sing, oh my goodness. But that we were shown that there would be this song ministry. And then there was Shanna. And then there was Rachel. I mean, and it's just unbelievable what is happening, but it's not. It was all in the vision that I saw. Sometimes you don't know what or how or when, but you just hold the vision, and if it comes about, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So anyway, he presented this song, and we had to change some lyrics. Like right now, we take baby steps, right? So we take a song that we like, a secular song, we change the lyrics, and we sing it. So we're getting to be really good songwriters. Pretty soon we'll start working on melodies and things like that, but this is where we are now. So even my kids will know this song. You need to get, what's the name, because she's going to enjoy this. When she hears it, she knows it with other lyrics, though, right? But the song is called Crawl by Chris Brown. And the way we've rewritten the words, think deeply. We're living in a time when everybody knows the pain because we're standing in a hate-filled reign, R-E-I-G-N. This is a time when hate is raging and it seems triumphant. Everybody says we're through, that we're sunk not only as a country, but as a civilization. The whole world has gone to hell. Everybody says that we're through, but I hope you haven't said it. Where do we go from here with all this fear in our eyes? Where could love take us now? We've been so far down, but we can still touch the sky if we crawl until we can walk again. We can run until we're strong enough to jump, and then we'll fly until there is no end. So let's just crawl back to love. So that's what I'm asking you to do. The Bible tells us to love our enemies, do good for those that despitefully use us. You can't make that leap today. But what can you reach? What can you step into? It says, why did we change the pace? Hate, hearts were never meant to race, always felt the need for grace, and now we can't find that place. So where are we standing now? Are we in the crowd of our faults? Love, can't you see my hand? I need one more chance. We can still have it all. So let's crawl till we can walk again. Run until we're strong enough to jump. Then we'll fly until there is no end. Let's just crawl, crawl, crawl back to love. So that's the song. And it is a beautiful song, sung with these thoughts in mind.
Everybody feels the pain, standing in a hate-filled rain. And everybody says we're through. I hope you haven't said it too. So where do we go from here with all this fear in our eyes? And where can love take us now? We've been so far touch the sky if we crawl till we can walk again, and then we'll run until we're strong enough to jump, then we'll fly until there's no end. So let's crawl, crawl back to love. Yeah, back to love. And why did I change the pace? Hearts were never meant to race. I always felt the need for grace, and now I can't find that place. So where are we standing now? Are we in the crowd of our faults? Love, can you take my hand? I need one more chance. We can still have it all if we crawl. Then we'll run till we're strong enough to jump, and we'll fly. So we'll crawl, crawl back to love. Yeah, back to love. Everybody knows the pain, standing in a hate-filled rain. So we'll crawl, and then we'll run, and we'll fly. So let's crawl, let's crawl. So we'll crawl till we can walk again, until we're strong enough to jump, and we'll fly until there is no end. So let's crawl, crawl. So we'll crawl, hey, till we can walk again, until we're strong enough to jump, and we'll fly.
May no harm come to you, no danger. May you always be able to meet the inevitable difficulties of life. So, as you know, Sister Grace is creating a mobile monastery, and she has the truck now, and she's in the process of outfitting it. And so we have back there for you, Sister Grace, a double cooktop stove, and we're gonna find, and it's beautiful too, and we're gonna find an oven. She said that when we gave an auction last week, we auctioned off, no, it was a raffle. We raffled off the perfect oven for her place. She's like, oh no, stop the raffle. But I'm sure we have another one. We've got a lot of pallets that we haven't even opened, so we will do that. And she has a website where she has the needs of the things that she needs to outfit the mobile monastery. So I ask you to visit her page and see if you can help support her in these things. That our responsibility is to provide the requisites for the monastics: food, clothing, shelter, and medicine. So this van is where she will live. It's also where she will offer her ministry on this leg of her journey, and no one knows where the future, where things go in the future. None of us do, but this is where she is right now. So let us support her in the great way that she has supported Hardwood we couldn't have made it through this past year and a half or 2 years we might have been without her. And she would always say, "Oh, Venerable, you know," I remember sitting on the mountaintop sipping tea in the morning, you know, and this will give her a chance to have that serenity and solitude that she hasn't had for a long time. So I'm glad she's here with us today, and please remember always, always, always in your prayers. Thank you. And these are my children. So if you stand. Come on, baby. What a surprise.
Hey man, don't cry until you get to me. Save some more tears for me.
Graduation picture, you're so beautiful. Y'all gotta get together. He sings too. I have never seen you, little baby. This is small. Oh, so nice. Dog, okay. So this is my youngest granddaughter, Charlie. Okay, here you go. What?
That you need to know it.
What's your name? You don't want to go to her? This is my oldest grandson from Tasha, but I got like about how many story got? My son has about, I don't know, 5, 6, something. 5 or so. I've only seen a couple of them. And this is my new baby mama. Oh, her name is 7. I'm getting better because babies used to cry near me deeper, but look at me and say, "See, that tell you something about what's inside of you." But now I know I've got it. And
You just call me Charlie, oh Lord.
no, I just asked her, "What's your name?"
Well, I'm the first. You can't forget my name.
Oh, this baby likes me.
That's your grandma. Your great grandma.
That might be daddy. So I believe in that reincarnation stuff. Thank you all so much for coming today, especially on a special day when you all are going to be doing other things and